Hello, and welcome to this introductory episode for Star Trek, the 25th anniversary. I'm starting off with a reading of the manual in PDF form here, since, if I recall correctly, the game kind of just throws you into the game right away, so I won't have time to discuss all of this in the middle of combat, because it throws you right into combat, too. There's two documents here, actually, that I have tabbed right now. The first one is the clue book, the official clue book for this, which I won't be reading, and I haven't read, but I have glanced over it a little bit. Just enough to see that as we scroll down, you see they give you clues in the form of, basically, this is like a written version. Like, if these were Star Trek episodes, these would be the novelization, it seems like, so... with a couple pictures for reference, but so I might do a reading of these eventually, but not right now because we don't want any clues. So we will be going into the 25th anniversary manual, which, as it explains, we will be taking on the role of Captain James Tiberius Kirk. And so we gotta basically play as him, try to make choices as he would, save the Enterprise, save the universe, all that good stuff. And the game mentions there's basically two games inside of this. There's the Starship mode and the Away Team mode, so to speak. So, oh man, I don't know if I have the stats to run this. But, no, the Starship mode is basically where we control the Enterprise from the bridge. So we have all of our, main officers here. We raise shields, we can consult a computer, we can hail vessels, we can arm weapons, we can repair our engines, we can give it her all she's got, Captain. We can have Scotty do that. This is where we generally just navigate around the universe and also combat enemy vessels. So there's really... if you're already familiar with Star Trek, there's really not much for you here because you already know what Kirk and Spock and everyone will do. This just tells you the keys for it. And all the symbols. And then this gives you a breakdown of the ship, which it's not quite accurate. This was a deflector array, not really a sensor, but... all in all, it's generally accurate, but this tells you where your subsystems are and what they do. Shields protect your ship and are regenerative. The bridge is where you are, where you interface with everything else. Sensors lets you see. Hull is, what keeps you together. Phasers are your primary energy weapon. Photon torpedoes are your primary heavy weapon. And this lets you, if you want to go into... you get a little radar, and then you can also monitor your systems, the enemy systems. You can. It explains the difference between warp and impulse engines. Warp being for FTL, impulse is for sublight travel, and then power is, just if you might have to manage power if you don't have to, if you get damaged, and then movement is just with the mouse, and the opposition is fairly limited, just Klingon battle cruisers, Romulan warbirds, and Alasi pirates, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. The Klingons are easily a match for us. They can go toe-to-toe with the Enterprise, but the main difference is, whereas we have, in-game, the actual ship stats obviously are quite different than what's represented in-game, but in-game, we have 2 phaser banks and 2 photon torpedoes. Forward. Now the Klingons get 2 disruptor banks and 1 photon torpedo tube forward, and I don't know if they modeled the aft one in this game. They certainly do in later games. Of course, they also give everyone more phasers and disruptors, so who knows. The Romulan warbird, true to the series, uses their famous cloaking device, and they are kind of glass cannons. So their strategy is just to, they'll cloak, they'll try to hit you from a side you aren't expecting, so they'll decloak. They have 2 disruptor banks and a plasma torpedo, I think. And the plasma torpedo is very slow, but it does a ton of damage. But if you can maneuver out of the way, you can sometimes maneuver out of the way, but it also takes a long time to recharge. So the Romulans are really all about hit and run attacks. So, and yeah, so it mentions here that this is around the time where the Klingons entered into alliance with the Romulans, and unlike Discovery, this is when the Klingons actually acquired their cloaking devices. And alliance during the 23rd century, around the time of Kirk's 5-year mission, where the Klingons gave the Romulans the designs for their battle cruiser, and then the Romulans gave the Klingons cloaking technology. But in any case, then the last one is the Alassi Pirates, which these are unique to the game, as I don't believe they feature in any other Star Trek lore. And they tend to be lightly armed and armored, but they're quick, so they're more dangerous in numbers, and their primary defense is just outright evasion. And some of them, I believe, also get cloaking devices. This is a star map of, and it's unique to the game, but what's unique about this is actually a form of copyright protection back in the day. As you see, if you go to a incorrect system, like if they tell you to go to, say, Christian, but you instead go to Pollux or any other system, what will happen is you'll face a random amount of enemies, anywhere from, I believe, generally 1 to 3 enemies from any faction. The faction, I believe, is random, as punishment for going to the wrong system. So, the idea was if you didn't have the manual, you wouldn't know where to go, and therefore couldn't play the game. I mean, obviously, you can brute force this just by saving before you warp anywhere in trial and error. But we fortunately have this, so we don't have to do that. So, where is Pollux? Okay, yeah, it's not quite where I remember. Then the other segment of the game is the away team mode. And this is where Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Redshirt will go down to the planet or the ship or wherever you're going. And this is, while in space combat, the Enterprise can be destroyed. In the landing party mode, your individual crew members can be killed. Now, generally, if you make, I guess, a quote-unquote minor mistake, generally the red shirt will die first to give you time to, like, if your reflexes are really slow in battle, with, say, a Klingon attack party, they'll hit your red shirt first. So that gives, slower players enough time that they can still beat the party and move on with the game if you don't have lightning fast reflexes. But if you make a really bad decision, it can instantly annihilate your away team. So, and the game over condition is if any of your 3 main officers die, then it's game over. But if you do lose your security officer, it does hurt your score. You do get scored at the end of every mission. So then it's generally your generic adventure game controls. The look, talk, use, grab, all that good stuff. Except because you have a whole landing party instead of just one person, sometimes you have to have a specific person do an action. Like you might have Spock analyze something with his tricorder, or McCoy treat a wounded person, whereas Kirk would be the one to talk to, say, friendly aliens or something and open up relations with them. Sorry about that. I couldn't help it. It's Kirk, after all. Opening relations is what he does. But enough of the toilet humor. So, and you generally have standard equipment that you start all your away missions with. That's not to say it can't be confiscated per the game, but generally you start out with a phaser with stun and kill setting, Spock's tricorder, McCoy's medical tricorder, communicator, McCoy's medical kit, and you can pick up items around the world. So, and each one is much like an episode of Star Trek. Now, this takes place during the quote-unquote 4th season of the original series, which obviously doesn't exist, but it's basically, these are parts of the 4th year of Kirk's first 5-year mission aboard the Enterprise. And so that would also basically, I believe, place it concurrently with the 1st season of the animated series of Star Trek. And these scenarios do have multiple outcomes. We will be striving for the best ones, of course. And we generally just want to be all Starfleety, so pacifist, nonviolent, only firing in self-defense, that sort of thing. Saving as many lives as possible. And based on the score, they give you commendation points, which the more you get, the better your officers get. So, and this just gives some background on the Enterprise, which if you're familiar with the series, you probably already know this. And then background on the various officers. And for those of people who got into Star Trek with J.J. Abrams movies, this is a prime universe, not the alternate universe. So I'll leave this up on the screen for a little bit for if anyone wants to actually pause to read them. But just some background on this game. This game was originally released in '92 for, I believe, Apple and MS-DOS. It was made by Interplay Productions, published by Interplay. Interplay actually used to be quite the heavyweight in gaming for a long time. I've got quite a few of their games in my collection from back when I was a kid, and my parents bought them for me. So, games like this, Starfleet Academy, Descent Free Space, amongst others. And I believe, I want to say it was 95, it got re-released for the CD-ROM. And the CD-ROM had extra features, like, as you can see here, they've got voice acting, and they've got the entire original cast for the crew of the Enterprise. I don't know if that's the guy who originally played Mudd. But let's see. And obviously there's spoilers in this. Yeah. Oh, wrong person. I guess they didn't list them. Okay, but there will be a few recognizable people throughout the game. I mean, the biggest spoiler here that I see is Mudd, that I recognize off the just right now. But the voice acting is actually pretty good for an older game, especially one that was originally a DOS game. And actually, and this kind of ties in more with the sequel, but the Judgment Rights, I believe, it's the last officially released work where the entire crew got together to do voice acting. There was actually going to be a sequel to that, Secret of Vulcan Fury, which I'll probably talk more about in Judgment Rights. But that was unfortunately canceled. Probably had to do with Interplay slowly dying at the time. But that Secret of Vulcan Fury was the last time I believe that the whole original cast got together for a project. So, and as you can see, if you want hints, you can call their hint line. Or if you have a modem, you can dial into their BBS. Yes, this game is old. Actually, about as old as me, so. Oh man, lifetime warranty for $5. Oh. So, yeah, that's the game. I guess someone decided to scan a copy of the CD. I don't know why. But, that's basically this game, and I think that's all the introduction it really needs. So, next time, we'll see you in the game. So, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned, and we'll see you then.